Well, here I am in the village of Finchingfield, a lovely Essex village in the heart of the Essex countryside. It's and we do have a lovely gallery here in Finchingfield. Well, there's varying ways to get to it, but the sign heads us across this little bridge, because the Wonky Wheel Gallery is actually on the first floor of that building, that brick building, across the duck pond. Well, what artist would visit a lovely village like this without actually painting a picture? And I've chosen this scene behind me, looking up towards the church. Church is right up on the hill, good composition, gable ends, church, cottages. It's only going to be a smaller painting, but I really like that composition. Let me lead you through it. Well, I'm using my ordinary array of colours, my usual palette. That's not a problem. We've got no sun at the moment, and I like to see a little bit of sun in some of my my work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this number 4 mop again that points. Using that a lot at the moment. You do get favourite equipment that you use, you know, for a while, and then all of a sudden that changes again and you use something else. But at the present moment, on this size paper, I find that this sort of size brush that points just about suits what I want to do, really. So I've damped the paper. Now I'm going to use, let's use ultramarine for the sky. A nice blue patch of ultramarine. Always gives a lovely impression of a blue sky. Ultramarine. And I'm picking around the buildings for this one, as you can see. Good. So we're going to be light there. We're going to be fairly light behind there, but we're going to be dark as it comes, so it meets that. Really, that's the idea of that area of like that. I'll just lift that off because that's getting a little bit running. Right, so that's the blue sky. All I need now is the clouds. Well, for the tops of the clouds, I'm putting in raw sienna in my normal way. I always like to flick in raw sienna for the tops of some of these clouds, particularly a nice strong one there. There we go. And for the undersides of the clouds, I'm going to use light red and ultramarine. May as well stick with that light red and ultramarine to give a blue-grey. Don't want to be too red, but I want a bit of warmth. There we are. And it doesn't want to be too powerful. Let's see how that works. Oh, that's not bad. That's nice. Gives a nice bit of warmth to the undersides of some of the clouds. So basically we're fairly light around the tops of the buildings, really. Just go a little bit deeper with the ultramarine, just in a couple of places like there, possibly down there, because you always remember that dries up much lighter. So make certain we remember that. But other than that, as far as the sky goes, I'm going to leave it as simple as that, really. Just allow it to do its own thing, allow it to dry off in its own way. The next thing I'm going to do is to give these buildings a bit of warmth. Well, they're raw sienna, so it's just straight raw sienna from the tin. Oh, that's white, so that's got to come off. There you go. First mistake, when you get all worked up and all interested in a subject, and all of a sudden you're going to overlay a colour where it's almost white. Not that it really makes a lot of difference, but I've used a damp brush and just lifted away. And we've got another one here as well. That's also on the yellow side. So that's a bonus as well. And we'll put a little bit, let's just put a bit of red with that for the face edges, for these edges here, because that's going to be in shadow anyway. So oh, and a little bit more yellow then for that one there. What else have we got? Any other yellows? Well, there isn't. Okay, well that's all right. Right, next thing, pinks. Well, for me, a pink is purely alizarin crimson. Look at that, that's a pinky red. So that's going in there. Now white window frames, so I'm going to leave those white. Notice how quickly, you know, it's actually, this probably will be in quite a bit of shadow shortly. So there we go. But basically that's my pink that's gone in for that building. It just makes that, just lift that off, just lift those away so they don't run back too much. Now we've got that's mainly white. Right, we've got a funny looking reddy pink there, so I've added light red with a little bit of alizarin. It just, to me, it just seems that sort of colour, but whether that works or not I don't know, but that's going in anyway. There we are, slightly red pink for that particular area. Could be a little dark, but overall we'll just lift a bit of that away. Right, let's get the roads in now. The road is like a grey, so into that mix I'm just going to put ultramarine again, starting off with more ultramarine to start, and that road sweeps down. That's quite blue, that, isn't it? It's interesting. Now I'm adding a little red to that now, turns it slightly grey. Trying to paint around the sign. The colour I've used one side of the sign, I'm going to use it to the other side. Oh, and that road then sneaks off around here. Right, so we'll put that in at the same colour, at the same level, so it's all same level. Then I'm going to add a little bit more red. My normal sort of way of treating foreground, as you know, is to give a bit of warmth. Then once we come into the foreground, I'm really striking the red in. Look at that. It's really giving it. Not actually including the pond on this, which is something that I've not done before. I've honed in a little closer with this. I will just show the road running along the foreground, but I've actually honed in just that little bit closer there. Good. So that's the second stage. Well, the next stage is the red roof. Well, to me, they are varying mixes of light red, burnt sienna and raw sienna. We'll use the stronger reds for the roof area that's close, although there again that's probably going to be in shadow. Well, look how it's running into, that's lovely, that's running into that lower area. Look at that. Oh, I don't mind that. Right, a bit more burnt sienna now for the area. Oh, there's a half brick there, and that's brick coming down there. Okay, and then this roof here, and that roof there, those two dormers. Now as we go further back, because I'm going to add ultramarine to that, because I don't want that to be quite as powerful. See how it knocks that back into a less intense tile colour. And that one the same. Bit more blue, bit more brown, just to make it, just to ring the changes really. It is red tiled roof, but I want that to sit back. I don't want that to come forward. that. There we go. And then this one will have a bit of red in it, a little bit more red, because that faces the sunlight. It's had a bit more red than that. There we go. Not quite as powerful as the front, or the areas in the front, but I prefer to have a little bit of red in there. That's good. Yeah, that's nice. Just keep that off the sunny side, lift it off the sunny side. There we go. Oh, and there's another red. It's going to be burnt sienna, this one here. And its accompanying chimney. Oh, and that's also, but that'll have a bit more blue in that. Don't want that to be too powerful. And that one neither. There we are. Yep. There we go. Any little drips and runs that are beginning to run back need to be just taken away, really. Just lift it off gently. Good. I'm actually going to use burnt umber into that mix now, because these chimneys are a little on the darker side, so I want them to be darker too. Still got a bit of warmth, but they're up into the sky that is quite dark anyway. Trying to use the point of the brush, and I'm really governing myself, trying not to produce detail. In an effort to do that, I'm using the brush as best as I can, really. And that one at the back there got to be a lot weaker, less intense, because it's sitting back. There we go. Almost lose that in the end there. Oh, and there's a red roof there, so let's use a bit of that colour as well, a bit lighter. There we go. That's good. Church, well, stone, right. Ultramarine, raw sienna, light red. Now that will give us, all being well, a lovely stone sort of grey. See that grey coming there, warm grey? Yep, there we go. A bit more blue. There we are. See that lovely stone warm grey? It's a mix of the three primaries, so obviously it's going to end up quite grey. Now the sunlit sides going in there, and also the castellations, but castellations along the top, they need to be hinted at as well. Notice how I'm not being too fussy, not following exactly the line that there you go. Perfect. A bit more burnt umber with that now, just to slightly darken it for this side, but we will be putting shadows in there anyway shortly. I'm going around the clock face at this stage and finishing. There's a green bush there, so that's looking quite good. Just lifting off a couple of bits there, and oh, there's just one more fencing that's very dark, although it's in the foreground, so I'm using burnt umber and ultramarine to paint in this fence, this wall. It's a lovely big tall wall there, and it's a figure there, so I'm trying to preserve that as best as I can, and that runs out of picture like that. Bit of shadow work, I think, coming in there, and there's a figure there, believe it or not. Whether that looks like a figure or not, I'm not sure. And also there's a dog at some point there. But anyway, that's that. Now we're going to paint the greens. So, right, for the green, there again I'm going to go ultramarine again with cadmium yellow. And I should have put the cadmium yellow in first really, because it's dominating. Let's put a bit of lemon yellow in it just to warm it. There we go. Give it a little bit of life to start with, like that. It's actually going to overpaint that in a moment, but that I'll do in a second. There we are. I'll just more or less leave a bead of white on top of the thingy there. Right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add more blue and a bit of burnt umber, just a little bit of burnt umber, just to give it a bit of warmth. And now the brush is out of paint, I'm going to use that to pick out the edge of that tree. See that? And it actually sits behind that, I think. It does. Then I add more blue, more brown for the darker green area, which is predominantly on the left. I've got sun coming from the right, so, and we're going to use one or two little touches of the point of the brush to show smaller branches just overhanging. And it gets very dark down in this lower area. Plenty of blue gone in, painting around there like that, one or two little touches just while it's still damp. Oh, and got to remember that the branches overhang, so I've got to remember that. So, and they stand up as well. Basically that's all we need to do for the first stage of that side. Cleaning the brush again, and I'm picking up some more sort of lighter greens there for that particular shrub that's pulling down there, and cutting in for the side of that roof line and building, and just trying to work my way around really. There's another little bit of green there, although it's not of any substance. And then of course we've got the green grass area on that verge there, and of course we've got the green grass area here. So I think those rich greens complement the general feel of the warmer reds and yellows that are in there. Now I'm looking for a blue-grey, so within that burnt umber I'm going to put a little bit of blue. So it's a bluey grey to indicate the belfry, the bell tower there. We'll put both sides in and then we'll paint that in later. Then we add a little more blue because we've got, this is very much cooler in colour there. Don't paint right the way down to the castellations on the top. Then it goes slightly green. It's like coppery. Just imagine it's the copper flashing. It's turned with age, I would have thought. Doesn't look right. Looks like a... Let's just lift that off a touch. That's better. There we go. That'll be fine. And then we just have... well, we have the windows to put in. Now the windows are varying mixes of burnt umber and ultramarine. So we go straight in there, and we go in with a bit of ultramarine, and let's go a little darker, a little bit more blue to start with. And notice I haven't got too much moisture on the brush, because my old trick for painting windows is just to pull down like that 1, 2, 3. Here we go. A little bit darker now for the tops. Down, tops, down. That's it. And where else are we going to have windows? Right, we're going to have a window 1, 2, 3, 4. One there, that's a door, I believe. And that's a window there that stands out. Another door there, another window there. Can't see them there. Right, we've got another window there. Another window there. We've got a window there. This is very rough, isn't it? Drag down with a light brush. Well, a brush that's not too much paint on. That's glazed and all. Right, so that's like a little conservatory there, I think. Yeah, that's glazed, that's glazed, that's glazed, and so is that. There you go. Your windows are in. Oh, let's put the belfry louvers in. There we go. I think that probably that suffices for the belfry louvers. Now we want some dark browns in here, almost blacks. So almost black, burnt umber, nice strong ultramarine. Look at that, get almost black. And that's for the post there and that post there. We've got a small area underneath the gutter, underneath the gable end, and then quite a determined piece there. Another small area there, just supporting the tile work, I would presume. Another one here. Notice I'm leaving a gap between that and the tiles, because that's always a good thing to do. Nothing there, nothing there. Boom, boom, boom. Just trying to think where they are, I'm trying to see them really. Right, there's a door there, believe it or not. Well, there wasn't, but there is now, because I've just seen it. What else have we got? Oh, some beams there. Just loading up again. Beams there. Beams there. 1, 2, 3. One across there. A little bit over each window. Oh, there's a door there, so let's have that door put in like that. You've got a section there and there. Notice how rough this is. A bit under there, where the gutter is. Okay, bit more brown in this time for there's a gate there that's treated wood, and that goes in very roughly, like that. Let's just paint that roof. I've not painted that yet. Porch roof, put that in there like that. Now the cars. I'm going to have a red car. Don't know whether that's what sort of car it is, but it's going to be a red car or burgundy. Let's just call it burgundy, shall we? So that's a burgundy car like that. Rear lights. Then we have the bonnet and where the wheels are. Quite simply painted. Number plate. Yeah. Don't know what sort of car it is, but not really worried. Then we're going to have a dark car. Just ultramarine really, dark blue, bit of burnt umber but it's mainly dark blue, so that's going to go in there. It's meant to be a mini, but not certain whether we'll really achieve that mini look, but there you go. That's that one gone in, and then there's another one which is a black van, which I'm going to use Payne's grey for that, just as devilment really. Why not? And that van goes down at the back like that, and we come down there like that. Not got much of a bonnet, but it's nice and dark. That's what makes that van look particularly good. Dark brown for the sign, the support for the sign, there like that, and got a bit of writing on it. Not a great deal of colour, a little bit of green, putting a little bit of red in it. Not that it's got a lot of red, but that's what I've decided to depict. Going to use something different here for the clock faces. Going to use Windsor blue for clock faces, because it is that sort of blue. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to put that into the top of the top there. That's it. Perfect. I'm happy with that. Good. Let's allow that to dry. Just one or two little bits and pieces going in. Burnt umber, ultramarine for the legs of the figure. I've put a bit of a red colour in there. These are going to be in shadow, so I'll put those in after the shadow goes on, I think. Let's not forget the dormer window, the roof areas. I don't think I've painted those in properly, and there is just a ridge tile there that needs to go in. And the chimney pots, they're going to go in quite dark because they are against the light sky. Not really that dark, but as I say, against the light sky they would appear, or could appear, quite dark. Anything else dark? Oh, the louvers I'm painting back in now, like that. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, another thing dark is the flagpole. There we are. There, like that. A little bit of red in that flagpole, so I'm putting this red in. It's that strong cadmium red. Like that. Good. Windows for the cars. Just a dark blue. Quite blue actually when I'm going in here, and there's a lot of shine in those windows, so I'm not painting them in completely. There we go. Good. Really, we're looking at shadow work. Now comes the all-important shadow, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to use, I'll tell you what, I'll use the cadmium red and ultramarine. There we are, that's my shadow, and it's going to be quite blue, which is the way I see it when the sun came out. It's not come out much today, but that's the way I saw it when it did come out. Fairly strong, so we'll bite the bullet on that one. And the first thing we've got to do is to create a shadow from the overhanging roof line there and down there, across the top, down the right hand side of the windows, across the top, down the right hand side of each section of window. Right, we'll do that shortly. Little section in there, little section under there, right hand side, and there's just a bead section there, there's just a bead down that side, just about see the edge of that chimney. There we go, and that then naturally slopes down. Oh, there's another shadow there, so that needs to be shown, and another shadow there. That brings it all to light. And then we really have to bite the bullet here, because we've got a shadow this side there, a shadow there, I love these shadows. You really, you know, it's where you begin to see the product of what you've been painting, really. Only paint over with one wash. Don't go over with any more than one wash, because if you do, like to remove the paint from underneath, which is not really what you want to do. There we go. And oh, and that's also in this lovely purpley shadow. Just fancied a purpley shadow today. That's in sunlight, but that's not. Don't know why, but I just fancied a purple shadow. And then of course that shadow then sneaks across the foreground road like that. And it could actually go a fair way. But the cars are going to be in sunlight, which is something that I see quite often here, I think. And then of course that then sneaks across like that. There we go. Right, what else? To a lesser extent, we've got shadows here on the, just going out of picture, I keep pulling that over. I don't know why, I hope that's not spoiling anything for you. Shadow there, like that. Shadow there, and down that tower, and of course across that area there, underneath there, and of course there is like a weather vane affair up there. Oh, each of these constellations would have a shadow, and then there is just, perhaps we'll leave that for the finishing touches. Now this is also in shadow there, but that's in sunlight. I'd like to see a nice bit of fresh green there, and shadow there, shadow there, shadow under there, shadow down there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint this chimney in complete shadow. Don't ask me why, because at the moment I can't really tell you. But oh, and of course then we've got shadow there, there, chimneys, there we go. Look at that. Doesn't that bring it all into real strong sort of sunlight? Now we have a lot of shadow here, add a bit more blue to that, a bit more red, because we've got a lot of lovely shadow here. Right, now there is a tree that's casting a shadow across this area, and notice how I've put that in but that figure like that. Yep, and of course then the left hand side of this tree would then pick up some of that shadow anyway. And there's just a little bit running down across there, and there. That's good. Now the wheels of the vehicles, they need to be painted in. Of course they would cast a shadow, but you wouldn't see the other vehicle shadows. But then of course there's some shadow work here, down there, and that then runs across like that. Right, I'm just going to clean the brush because I want a soft shadow in this foreground. Don't want that to be hard, so just clean the brush. I'm just trying to lift a bit of paint off there, just to soften that shadow up in that foreground. Right, a little bit more shadow here, under there, that's also in shadow, and of course there's a shadow within the door as well. There's a pillar there, across the top down the right, across the top down the right. So I've brought those into sunlight. Same here, like that. A little bit of greenery there too, which is quite a nice green, but fairly dark. So let's make certain we don't go too light with this green. Runs across the front of that cottage, which is obviously the planting in the front garden, presumably. And just a bit of edging there to the greenery. Bit of edging there. Good. Well, I think we're getting there. There's just a few of those really all important finishing touches that I'm renowned for, I suppose. Bit of that shadow from that tree on them buildings there we go. So, finishing touches. Now for those all important finishing touches, I'm using cadmium red and ultramarine to give me a nice bluey purpley colour. See that? And that's the colour that I'm going to use just to sharpen up some areas, particularly touches. Oh, there's a beam that runs across there, a bit of sill area there, a little bit of highlighting in the windows. Oh, there's a shadow running across there, that's in shadow as well, but that isn't because that's coming at an angle. Right, under the gutter there, under the gutter there, under the gutter there, and that window there, and that window there, just needed some emphasising, just highlighting that. And two little touches there, the way that roof goes across and down. I'm not sure whether that's required, so let's lose a bit of that. But anyway, that's going to be attended to shortly. All the hands, what are we, 2 o'clock? Let's put those in, then we'll put some markings. It's actually 3 o'clock, there you go. Right, and inside of that belfry tower, there we go. Really, I've got a feeling that apart from looking at it later on, there's not a lot more we can really do with that one. So I think what we'll do, we'll take the surround away and sign it up. Well, now I've taken the surround away, I can now just see where I want my figures. There's one there, but of course these are in shade, so we don't need to do too much to them. And that one has got dark, and of course it's a dog. which is quite important these days, I think. Lots of people have dogs on leads, so I think that sort of does it for a dog, I think. A couple of birds perhaps, maybe. Where would they be situated? There and there, and let's have a smaller one there. There we go, just to add a bit of interest. But apart from that, I think that's it. I think we can safely say that we can leave that well alone. Then all we need to do now is to sign it, and I'm going to sign it in the paint I've used, with the brush I've used, point of a brush, my normal signature. It's not easy to do with a brush, but I think most people would recognise that. So there you have it. Cottages and church on Finchingfield Green. Well, there's the painting. Oh, and there's the ducks. And there is the scene in front of us. Just honing a little closer. And so that's more or less what I've tried to depict here today on Finchingfield Green. Well, I really love painting plein air. Well, there's the scene on Finchingfield Green, and this is the finished painting. Maybe one or two little touches to add, but apart from that, that's pretty much it, really.